Amazing no-fap benefits for athletes and health-conscious people, pretty much anyone who is active. I want to go over what the incredible benefits of no-fap and, to a certain extent, semen retention will have for those who are athletic, who are participating in sports at an amateurish or even higher level, so that's coming up next. Hi there, welcome to HeartSpace, where we are releasing videos every single day to help you live more in your way. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you don't miss any videos that we release. My name is Dave, because I know I didn't mention that in the beginning if you are new to the channel. Now today I want to go over some of the benefits of NoFap, not just for the everyday person, because I think NoFap can be incredibly beneficial for everyone. It's not just athletes, but today we want to focus specifically on athletes and why NoFap really is a must. For people who are incredibly athletically active, because there's just so many things that go into NoFap, so many things it's going to do for you. Again, as a normal person, as an everyday person, you may not be athletic, you may be, not participating in sports, collegiate sports, high school sports, club sports, whatever it is, even to like semi-pro to professional level. You might just be someone who's normally active, you might be someone who's maybe just, bare minimum active, but it can benefit almost everyone, NoFap can. But again, today I want to talk about specifically athletes. Now, I've already made a video on semen retention for athletes, which I will link down below and have a card come across. I actually want to remake that video, but it's still a good video because semen retention and NoFap, although are similar, are not exactly the same. I would say semen retention is essentially NoFap on steroids, because semen retention removes sex from the equation as well. NoFap is refraining from pretty much masturbation and porn and things of that nature, but it isn't necessarily required to refrain from sex. In fact, healthy sexual relationships are encouraged in NoFap unless you're on what's called hard mode, which I would then consider being semen retention. So even if you are having sex, not releasing, not ejaculating, or refraining from sex altogether, which would be what some would also call monk mode. So not only is it you're deliberately refraining from sex, not that you couldn't have sex, you're refraining from it, you're not releasing in any form, right? You're not really allowing yourself to get into any kind of sexual energy, or at least in a way where you would release it. So if you want to learn more about semen retention, again, the more harder mode I would say to NoFap, you can go check out that video. If not, we're going to go over NoFap, and I'm also going to issue a challenge at the end for you athletes, or for anyone else as well who wants to participate in this. So why is NoFap so incredibly beneficial for athletes? Well, it's twofold, not only for your energy in the body, but also for your brain, for the way your brain functions, the chemicals it releases, especially when it comes to dopamine, which is essentially the pleasure drug in your brain that's released as a reward, what do I want to say? I don't want to say drug, but a reward hormone in a sense. I don't think it's a hormone. A reward, what the hell is the word I'm looking for here? A reward chemical. I can't believe it took me so long to get to that. A reward chemical for when you do something. The problem with fapping, the problem with porn, which we're also throwing into there, NoFap includes no porn. The problem with that is it just activates your dopamine centers like this and causes dopamine to be released into your body over and over again, but without any effort. There's a problem when it comes to effortless dopamine hits. You see, dopamine is meant to be traditionally a reward you get, a good feeling you get for having actually accomplished something. So for example, you work for weeks on that project for school and you get an A, boom, hit of dopamine. That's what it's supposed to be for. You go to the gym every single day for a few months, and then you look in the mirror and you're just bulging with muscles, you're fit, your body feels good, and you just get that amazing feeling of dopamine, or even after a good gym workout. But it requires you to do something that we would say arbitrarily, but we would say deserves or has earned the result of feeling good. But in this day and age, with all of just the instant gratification things that are running rampant in the world, it's easier than ever to get those dopamine hits that would have normally taken you a lot of work, consistent work, in order to receive that. Right? Because now, instead of, working weeks on a project and then getting that dopamine hit once you completed it and it feels so good and you got this amazing thing done, now you can just log on, watch some porn, masturbate, release, and feel that same level of dopamine. But what this does in your brain is it actually screws up the dopamine receptors. You were never really meant to have dopamine coursing through your body that often, and so it actually fries your dopamine receptors. And now, one of the reasons why a lot of people, when they watch porn, when they masturbate, and I've had issues with this in the past as well, when they watch porn, when they masturbate, that they feel very empty inside is because they are frying their dopamine receptors. It's now super easy to get that dopamine hit that it means nothing. You know, if you're feeling something all of the time, it basically nullifies that feeling. You have no contrast. If you're always feeling the dopamine rush, you might as well not feel it at all. Because you need the contrast. You need the contrast of the hard work and maybe a little bit of the struggle, not necessarily the struggle, but you know, the patience to getting the reward in order to fully feel the reward. Let me give you an example. This, for you guys who are not football fans, might not be that relevant, but Liverpool just won the Premier League for the first time in 30 years. You know, because they had to wait so long, it's that much more of a celebration, that much more of a reward, because it's been 30 years in the making of the highs and the lows and the close calls and almost getting there and then finally getting there. You know, if those celebrations happened, you know, every other week, it wouldn't be the same. And it's the same when it comes to your dopamine receptors. You know, that's a bit of a different example, but if you're just masturbating all the time, not only is it affecting your dopamine receptors, which we just went over, but here's another thing that's going to affect athletes. It affects your energy. Like I mentioned in that semen retention video, do you think semen just pops into existence and doesn't require energy to produce and to reproduce once you release? No, it actually requires a lot of energy. In fact, your body prioritizes semen production over most anything else in your body, because biologically our bodies are programmed to procreate, to reproduce. And therefore, it gives a lot of priority to the sexual glands. It gives a lot of priority to creating semen, especially, obviously, in a man. And so when you're depleting those reserves, your body then has to allocate a lot of energy to reconstructing, to replenishing the semen in your body. So if you're masturbating all the time and releasing, and then you have the added just screwing with your brain of watching porn, you know, not only are you screwing with those dopamine receptors, you're becoming addicted to something that's harmful. You're getting a warped worldview watching things like porn and things of that nature. Not only that, now you are depleting your literal life-creating force from your body. You have to understand that semen has the energy and power to create life. That is not something that comes without an energetic cost. And so for you athletes, anytime you're doing that and releasing, your body then, instead of, say, putting energy towards recovery or building muscle or anything of that nature, other functions in the body, it will now prioritize the recreation or the replenishment of semen. And so that's why releasing it all of the time, and for a lot of people it's daily, who have problems with masturbation and addiction. Again, in my past, I used to have this issue where it was near daily or every other day. There's a reason you feel a malaise. There's a reason, like after it, like you feel tired, or if you do this a lot, you kind of feel like there's a haze in your life. You're kind of low energy a lot. It's not necessarily just a mental thing. It is a literal, physical, energetic thing as well. And so the reason NoFap is so beneficial, I know this is a bit long-winded, but the reason NoFap is so beneficial to athletes is, one, it resets your reward center. As an athlete, you have to have a healthy reward center, dopamine receptor. It can't be fried. It can't be burned out. Because guess what? To be a successful athlete, you need patience. You need consistency. You need the mental toughness to push through when things get tough. Guess what? You got a screwed up reward center, that's not going to happen. You're going to give up when the workout gets tough. You're going to give up after a bad performance. You're going to, just keep going down a path of addiction instead of actually building towards a worthy reward. Again, that's arbitrary, but if you have a certain reward in mind that you want from an athletic perspective, it's going to take work. You can't have a fried dopamine receptor. You can't be getting all of these dopamine hits for nothing. Right? As an athlete, you need a bit of stoic mentality in being able to put off instant gratification in order to have that reward later on. You need discipline, you need structure and routines in order to get to that reward, and a screwed up dopamine receptor, and this can be reset, and we're going to get into the challenge at the end of the video of how you can do this, but if that's screwed up, it's going to be so hard for you to get to that. And if you're trying to get to that while also masturbating, while also watching porn, you're simply running uphill when it's unnecessary to be running uphill. or you're trying to make progress, but you're running on a treadmill and you're going nowhere. So it's something you really need to consider to stop doing. So that's the one thing, but also the energy depletion of when you're actually releasing. So when you're releasing, again, like I said, you are releasing life force. This is energy. The semen you are releasing is energy that could have created life, which needs a lot of energy in order to happen. Think about it. When you have sex and let's say you create a baby and that's what you're going for, and you create life, the semen is 50% of that creates enough energy to actually allow for that to happen. That's a lot of energy. And so if you're an athlete who's masturbating all the time, releasing all the time, that is energy that you are missing out on when it comes to recovery, when it comes to alertness and energy, when it comes to muscle growth. And that one's a big one, guys. Actually, a lot of people say that when they go on NoFap for a long time and they're people who work out, they report a lot more energy when working out, but also faster muscle growth, faster recovery. And as an athlete, especially a very active athlete, and someone who's coming from a background of being an athlete, that is so valuable. Having faster recovery, better recovery, being able to grow muscle faster, being able to get fitter faster is invaluable, especially if you're trying to gain an edge over your opponent. And so that is another benefit of NoFap for athletes. And those are the two I would really say. That reward center, because again, to be an athlete, you have to have that stoic approach for the most part. You can't be Epicurean, you can't be instant gratification. You have to have that level of stoicism to be like, I'm putting off the instant gratification for a later reward of maybe being a better athlete, of winning some competition, whatever it is, right? Or just to enjoy the process, because the process can be very pleasurable of getting yourself there as well. Like the thing is also, guys, with this, instant gratification feels good for a few moments. Learning to enjoy the process of getting to a goal can be pleasure the whole way around. It's a different kind of pleasure, but if you learn to enjoy the process, especially as an athlete in becoming better, then you just have a formula for success. It's actually very, very pleasurable to develop your skill, to develop your craft, if you come from a certain perspective. So I'll just throw that in there as well. So those are the benefits to athletes of NoFap. Semen retention as well, but again, that's next level. If you have a girlfriend, you have a partner, I don't see anything wrong with having sex and releasing every now and then. Again, you don't want to go crazy. Again, if you're doing it every single day, it's becoming a bit addictive, but there's nothing wrong in my eyes as long as you're really feeling it out. Like if you find that it's an energy drain, it's hurting you, then maybe learn how to have sex without the release, which is 100% possible. You can do that with a little bit of self-control, which again, we're talking about this delaying the reward kind of thing. That can be really, really beneficial. So those are the main benefits for athletes. You need to get those dopamine receptor, if it's fried, back into balance. Again, in a moment, I'm going to give you a challenge that's going to help you do that. And the energy component, guys. Again, you will not recover as fast. You will not grow muscle as fast. You will not have as much energy if you are constantly releasing it, doing that, or watching porn, or having that fried dopamine receptor. Now, one challenge I want to issue you, this is what I did in the beginning of my NoFap journey. I believe I did this, I was like 2021 when I did this. And I went on a 30-day NoFap challenge. And if you want to have support as you go on a journey like that, there's a NoFap community. Just Google it and you'll find a NoFap community where you can find forums or videos of people who have gone years of doing this, who are in monk mode, who are doing hard mode, who are doing complete semen retention, all that kind of stuff. It's great motivation. It's a great community if this is something you want to do. But it can be an incredible journey just to do a simple 30-day NoFap challenge where you are going to intentionally and deliberately refrain from looking at porn or anything related to it that would get you into that point addictively where you want to do it. And obviously you are refraining from masturbation, releasing in any way. You can obviously have the caveat of having sex in there. That's going to be up to your own discretion. Although I would recommend everyone try and go 30 days without any kind of release to at least try it. Might annoy your girlfriend or wife if you have one. If you don't, there's no reason you can't. But you got to really put what's going to be beneficial for you first here for your growth as an athlete, as a person, and everything else. So that's my challenge to you. If you want to do that challenge, if you're going to do that challenge, let me know by saying challenge accepted in the comments. I would love to know not only which ones of you have made it to the end of this video, but that's not proper English, but which of you are actually going to go forth and attempt this challenge of a 30-day NoFap. So put that down below. Challenge accepted with anything else you want to say, any comments, any feedback, whatever else. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. A bit different than normal, I know, but this is something I find very important, especially for men. Getting out of this loop of addiction, instant gratification, especially when it comes to porn, masturbation, and things of that nature. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I love you. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.